Switch. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 3 of the WOR season 40. I've lost count of what season this is on because I've been on too many of them. We're joined once again by Epic. Epic, how are you doing today?
Very good, thanks. What about you?
I am doing spiffing and excited for today's race as we move forward to yet another brilliant race. But do you know what's special about today, Epic? Do you know what's special?
Well, it's a sprint race weekend. That's the first thing. And it's Azerbaijan as well, the home of sort of overtaking for a street track.
Absolutely.
I have to say, I do think this track is an exciting track, of course, in real life for F1. It's shown that as well. Hopefully we'll show more today that it's just as good on the F1 game.
Well, the only answer to that is we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Who's going to be presenting some... If the tiers can be creating some great overtaking for sure. Talking of some great moments, let's talk about the championship at the moment, where it's only split by 5 points between the top 3, as all the drivers have been epically close, with Lucas Eduardo leading this championship.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's had a very strong season so far. Of course, first in Brazil, followed by third place in the last race at Circuit of the Americas. Of course, Cordo as well in second place as well. two second places in a row, which is again very good. Consistency is very good there. But I have to give it to one driver that's really come through all of a sudden is Maloney. You know, he won last race. He only finished 5th in Brazil as well. So to win last race and to pull himself up into 3rd is very good. And I think that's going to be where this battle could come, is from a driver like Maloney finding pace at circuits that sort of some drivers struggle at. And I think it's going to be very close anyway. You know, 5 points dividing them, like you said, it's too close to say, you know, any early indications of who could win.
Absolutely, it is way too early to tell you to see who's going to win. You know, we're only on the 3rd race here, and the sprint race is going to give us a lot of points. Of course, it's a lot less points when running a sprint race. I don't have the exact numbers on my screen, but let's talk about the track itself. The beautiful Azerbaijan track, being a 3.7-mile circuit with 20 beautiful corners, it is definitely proud to be a type of track that's going to allow, as we mentioned, overtaking. It's going to be a different style, a different look on things, and well, I guess we're going to have to wait and see how the drivers cope with it. And I think the trickiest area is going to definitely be the castle sections, turn 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Yes, definitely. Of course, famous for the Charles Leclerc I'm stupid moment back in 2019. Hopefully none of the drivers will be having that moment. But I just want to say, Azerbaijan is a very different track compared to the last two races, from the smooth flowing track of Brazil to then again another sort of relatively smooth flowing track of Circuit of the Americas, and to come to a track where the corners are a lot more square and the curbs aren't so easy to use. Drivers they'll have to adapt quite heavily, especially from two flowing tracks to quite a square sort of track in its layout. And also, the drivers have gotten used to using curbs for the last two races. They're going to have to miss quite a lot of curbs around this track if you want to find even more lap time, or even if you don't find more lap time, just for stability.
Yeah, you're right in saying that. It's not a nice curved-based track, as we're going to see Tolashi demonstrate to us. You can see here on the street circuit, you could attack it. The risk you're running is because the way these curbs are, both in real life and in game, they're quite a dominant, protruding curb that disrupts the car when you go over it. You actually do get airborne, which then means the downforce isn't working to the same effect. You're not having the ground effect to the car, so you're not got any downforce, you've got no grip, and then you just slide over it. And it just becomes a pain in the neck, and it is the annoyance, but this is the challenge of a street circuit. The idea is not to be easy. You've got the walls all around you, you've got the uneven surface of the road itself, so you're not going to flail through like you would on, I don't know, Catalonia, where it's free-flowing, or I was going to say Britain, but actually that's been relayered God knows how many times, but Hungary, where again, a lovely smooth circuit. It's nothing like that. It is meant to be difficult.
Also, the one track, this is, I would say, one of the most harsh tracks for track evolution, because at the start, it's like many street circuits, it takes a little bit of time for the track evolution to come in. And sadly for Tolashi, Tim Alders has retired from the session. I don't know what's happened there.
Qualifying ban?
Possibly.
Give me 2 moments. I will confirm that. But I've got a feeling, if I remember the report correctly, there was some problems. Because when we had Circuit of the Americas, there was a couple of drivers who definitely got in the way. So you keep going while I check.
Yeah, as I was saying, you know, this isn't the easiest track for track evolution. Sadly for Tolashi, he will face that sort of brunt of the harsh track evolution, as he does start off a lap here, going down into turn 1. Not bad for turn 1, very good on the brakes, keeping a tight apex. Exit was good. Into turn 2 now, again, heavy corner. Again, another square corner, then the long ride up. I'm not sure this is called the back straight or not, because there seems to be quite a few straights on this track, but heading down into turn 3, again, harsh braking, like the last two corners. Now through into turn 4, even tighter for this corner. He gets absolutely perfect, a little bit of locking up through there. Now into turn 5 and 6. He keeps it tight to the apex, going a bit wider there just to get a bit of a better exit. He gets good grip. Now going down into the hairpin, probably one of the most tough corners on the track for braking zones. He does get it perfectly, keeps it close. Now through to the castle section. Coming through, he keeps it very well, riding the curb well. Can he keep it close? Yes, he can. He is keeping it going, and it's actually a very good castle section through there. Now, heading through these fast left-handers that aren't too difficult. This is where the Lance Stroll crashed in 2021, and he's been able to keep it out the wall. And now, down into the last proper corner on the track. He gets it well. He is really going fast here. He's got some time to find still, I would say, but this lap so far on racing line and throttle application has absolutely been perfect. He's behind a car. He's going to get some slipstream off of his teammate here, who is Santa Maria here. And now coming down, cross the line. It's a 39.3. Very good lap there. That's going to be beaten by Dustin Vincent. And Akos goes third.
Yeah, and in answer to your question, or to our query, Tim Alders does have a qualifying ban for impeding a qualifying run. That was of it's a different name that's being presented in the Discord chat. But yeah, impeding a driver on a timed run does cost you a qualifying ban, as the first of the laps are coming through. We're currently watching Seb at the moment, trying to do his best. It's not demonstrating any purples, but as Cordell will now take provisional pole, and Seb coming round the fast section. And I gotta say, this is probably one of my favourite sections on the F1 calendar. The way the cars just flow through at top speed and then down this massively long straight. And the start-finish line is near the end of the straight, so you're going to hit top speed, you open up your DRS, and then you go a bit more, and Seb can only get himself 6th fastest. His teammate Tax is also on a good run. What can he put himself in? Only good enough for P9.
After what I said, Alexander Dimas, first driver to pop it into the 1 minute 38 with an 1 minute 38.811. Very good lap there, especially for first laps as well. I think track has rubbed up slightly, but you know, not that much track evolution. But that's pretty good, I have to say, from him. Also, Andres Lopez went third. Very good for the AlphaTauris. But I feel bad for what I said earlier, that Talashi might struggle, because he obviously hasn't, as he's gone 6th. As he was the first one to cross the line, so possibly track evolution might be a little bit faster than expected.
Lucas Aguado's not on a good lap. The rear end kicking out. He's not got grip of this car. Not happy. Our championship leader not demonstrating great pace. And I don't think this lap will be too astounding unless somehow the sideways action of Japanese drifting is going to favour him. But he's coming up to the line. Is he going to abort? He's going to commit. Put a time on the board. Comes across the line. 38, 30. Yeah, into the 140. So not comfortable with his current setup at the moment, and it's unstable, this car. It's sliding too much. It was dancing around when it didn't need to dance, and that's just further information that car's not prepped and ready for this track.
Yeah, definitely. I think a few things can cause that around this track. First of all, too high tire pressures can be an issue that leads to that, as I've sadly learned in the past.
Ooh.
But so that's probably going to be the one issue it could be. But I think another issue is also throttle application around this track. You've got to be very careful. I've been watching Lucas Eduardo over his lap and how he applies the throttle, and he applies it sort of slowly and then very suddenly, and I think that's what's losing him grip.
It potentially is, but not unless you got the eyes of the F1 esports drivers, such as the likes of Lucas Blakely or Jarno Otmir on track, and watching theirs. We will never be able to tell, but the sharpness, you can't be too strong for sure, because you will definitely over rotate the tires and definitely heat them up way too much. But let's see, as all the drivers are going to be heading back into the pits. We're going to be trying to catch an eye on somebody on an out lap, which I believe is Tristan. Yeah, he's going well against the pace, almost missing a first run. and taking advantage of the fresher, more, as we said, more evolved track. And we talk about evolution, and for people who's new, welcome to F1 Esports. Thank you for choosing Tier 3 over Tier 2, even though that one is available. The idea of what we say about track evolution, as the cars go around, they lay down rubber into the ground. Now, this rubber is probably the best thing that the track can have because it gets stickier, there's more grip on the track, meaning that you can turn into corners harder and faster and grip better. So that's what we mean by an evolution of the track. And this will be very clearly demonstrated as lap times slowly drop over time.
Yeah, I have to say, like I said earlier, this track is so powerful for that, and there is going to be a car that could get in the way. It is a Mercedes, slightly getting in the way mid-corner. That would have been Drax that got in the way slightly. I don't think he got in the way too badly, though, so that shouldn't have really hurt Tristan too much. Maybe a slight bit of dirty air. But yeah, like you're saying, this is a whole thing. It's such a difficult track, Baku. It honestly is, because you can't really sort of tell how much the track evolution has gotten at any point, because in some parts of the track, especially on this game, it seems to be grippy in some parts, less grippy in others, and that also comes down to setup as well. So it might help in some areas for some drivers and not in others.
Yeah, indeed it does. Tristan, coming round the final few corners before heading down what is this banana-shaped straight. You fast flowing, flat out. You pick up your detection zone a bit further back. You activate it round about here. Actually, no, sorry, you detect it back there. And now you activate it here. You'll notice the car just get that little bit faster. Coming across the line, it's 1:39.6, so a bit off the pace. So some room to improve, as drivers will start to now see an improvement on their times. And who is next across the line? I think it might be... It's not Tax, it's teammate Seb, who is going slow. No, he's on an outlap. That's a lie.
It's Jack Dan.
Wait, I'm trying to find him. What position?
12.
Thank you very much.
And ultimately, Jack Dan has gone 0.6 faster, and so currently this will net him up into P2, which is a very strong thing to have. He went purple in the middle sector. Last race, Jack Dan was quite strong in. It was up and down weekend for him, but across the line he goes P2. That's close. Good
position to be in. What's Danny Coe got? No, that's a 2-minute lap time. I think he's on an out lap, as it does show 1:40. That's a bit odd indeed. Let's go to who have we not spoken about a little bit. Let's talk about the McLarens of Ivan Santamara.
Yeah, definitely not the best weekend for him so far. He's struggled a few times across his campaign. Seems a little bit off of the pace at times. But this race, I think, could be his redemption race. He's improving by just a 10th, but that will push him up into P... Oh, he's backed off. Disappointing. Little bit disappointed with that. I really wanted to see what he could do there. Quite a lot of drivers going back to the pits now as well. So I guess drivers are backing off for their laps. But yeah, like I was saying, Santa Maria really... up and down campaign so far for him, I think. There's a bit to find still. I'm just trying to have a look. He's only scored 1 point so far. Better than his teammate Talashi, but he is only 12th in the Drivers' Championship. Now, I know there's only been 2 races, but still, it's not a great showing for McLaren so far, or for either of the McLaren drivers. And I just think both McLaren drivers are lacking slightly in race pace, I think, and they're getting a bit unlucky, especially Talashi. He gets a little bit unlucky in the races.
Yeah, I'm going to draw your attention back to Lucas Eduardo. He's looking a bit more aggressive in the way he's driving, but he has got that car to grip more than he wants to. What's the looking to be as he comes around he's in sector 3, so what can he do to finish it off? A little bit of a poor exit on turn 15, but was able to hold himself out, as I do apologize, I just completely broke the stream. We should be good. Nope, he dives into pits. I do apologize. I accidentally whacked my keyboard.
I don't know how you did that, but
Oh, I am skillful in ways that you do not know.
skillful at hitting keyboards.
Oh yeah, like
I think that's a Twitch streamer's sort of job.
I have a stream deck and my keyboard. That's all that is needed to be
You could have
said.
hit the stream deck. You could have hit that one instead.
If I hit the stream deck, we're definitely not watching the race anymore. No, but at the moment, we've done round 2 of the qualifying session. Of course, 18-minute qualifying session. It's not like Tier 1, where we have Q1, Q2, and Q3. It's just 18-minute shootout, fastest laps, which usually lead to about 3-4 runs. Being a bigger track, it means we only get 3 runs out of this race with 3 minutes 45 left on this clock. And who is on a lap? I don't think anyone's technically on a lap. No,
Flashy is, I think.
Is his real light flashing? That's the main question.
No, it isn't.
Ooh.
Is it? Yes, it is. For God's sake.
So he is aborted. So Lucas Eduardo technically will be the next driver out on track again. So he's dipped in and dipped out very, very quickly to get another lap in. And Eduardo, as a championship leader, not finding confidence around this track. And from the bits I've seen, I would say it's set up. I don't know what you've seen to counter it.
I think it is set up. I think that is probably one of the biggest parts to it. But I think it's also the way that he's driving. He's driving very sharp around a track that you do need to be more smooth round because of the sharp corners. And also his throttle application is very heavy. I think that's why he drove so well at Brazil and at Kota, was because he had that, because he could get his foot down early, and that was good round those tracks. But it's not good round here, especially with a lower grip compared to other tracks.
Well, you've heard it from the racer himself. I'm just the journalist practically in this whole scenario. As we will see Lucas Eduardo go for another lap, and I think this is a great opportunity to watch the championship leader try his best, and I'll leave the hot lap to our lovely epic freestyler.
Thank you. Warming up his tyres before he gets on his run. He's leaving it late to go full throttle. Here he goes now. He is going. Left it a little bit later than I would, but he is better than me, so I'm going to leave it to him. So coming up to the line now. He needs the top speed. He needs the straight line speed. So at some points, he's looked like he's been a bit lacking on straight line speed. He seems to be all right now. It seems like it's leveled out slightly. Coming up to turn 1, braking just about 100 meters. Misses the apex slightly. Ooh, big loss on the rear grip. Again, into the next corner, into turn 2. He misses the apex slightly again. Maybe going for more average speed than in and out of the corner quickly. Now, turn 3. What can he do? He's on the brakes again. Another harsh braking, locking up. I think that could have been the rear tyre slightly. And again into turn 4. He locks up the right front again, really struggling to get away on this track without locking up. But I think that is the problem for most drivers. Sector 1, about almost 4/10 up. So that was still, that will only put him 16th still. So he still needs to find quite a lot of time into the hairpin. Very good through there on the limit. It really seems like he's on the limit, taking it carefully through the castle section so he just doesn't mess that up and get damage or lose lap time. And up now into the last part of Sector 2. Now he's got these fast corners. His straight line speed seems to be pretty good, so that should hopefully help him. Again into this hard braking corner, very close to the wall. Might have even given it a little nudge there. Now into the final proper corner on the track. Takes a bit of curve. Might slow down his momentum slightly, but it's okay. It looks all right. Now coming through the last 2 corners. Now onto the straight. It's a long straight this, so we might have to wait a while to see what his lap time is. Now with DRS 111, 112, up to 115 miles an hour as he comes across the line. Only 9th for our championship leader.
Yeah.
Not where we want to be.
Not where you want to be indeed, as we're going to look at the top 5, keep track of where they're going. Cordo is going to be the first of the front runners. He's currently in Sector 2 through the exit of the castle section, the trickiest and most technical section. And by the way, we don't have red flags in this game, so if someone crashes, you've got to somehow find your way through. The time it has elapsed, so this is the last of all runs. Cordo is positive on his time, so he's not looking to improve at all as Ian Van Unen goes across the line, 1:38.5, finds more time. Andreas Lopez finds himself more time as well. Tax is down on his time, so that's not good for him. Jack Dan, has he got anything to respond as well? He's looking... I didn't see his sector time, but what can he do? He was one of the front runners coming into the championship, as Cordo puts himself 4th fastest. Alexander Dimas goes 2nd fastest. Jack Dan's abort. What's Tax got? Has Tax got anything left? He comes across the line. It's going to be 2nd fastest. And who is left to try and rival the championship? The leaders at the front. It's nobody at the moment.
Santa Maria.
And it's only going to be good for 12th.
It's qualifying though, I believe it is for him. So it's not bad. But remember, we've got that crazy sprint race still to do. And so everything's make or break in that, really, for then the main race.
Absolutely. It really is a make or break. But we've got to ask this one important question. And that question is the curse going to continue? Now, if you have not been here for the last few times, people who finish in the top 3 in qualifying end up at the bottom 10. Is that going to happen today?
Well, I'm not actually sure if that happened last race.
It did.
Tats. He was 3rd and then he finished 12th. 4th. So he's...
but he didn't stay and go on a win, but either way, the top 2, 1st and 2nd, dropped down and didn't get any points.
This is... I don't know what to say about that. It's difficult, but qualifying was good though. This was definitely close. It's very close. You know, less than a 10th is between the top 4. I mean, I didn't expect it to be that close between everybody. Also, bit of news. Maloney also had a qualifying ban, I believe. So he ultimately didn't set a qualifying lap, and he's last.
There wasn't anything on the report. I did check the report. Nothing said about Maloney getting a qualifying ban. So I don't know if that's personal choice, but unless there's been something privately messaged to him, to our knowledge, there is no ban to his name. But that being said, welcome to the first of the sprint race for this season.
I'm excited. I think qualifying was very good. I hope the sprint race is going to be even better. I believe it's only about 7 laps long, so it's not a long sprint race. But you know, I think we're going to start to see the drivers who are towards the back. They always try to break through faster, especially the drivers who are a bit out of position compared to usual or had a bit of a tough qualifying. I think we could be seeing drivers, for instance, like Jack Dan break through slightly. He seems to be stronger in the races, and even Ian Van Unen as well. I think he's got a big chance of a win here. He's been a bit unlucky in the last 2 races, but I think he could bring it because he's top 4 in this race, and he could really do something here. He could really change the Drivers' Championship.
Well, we have only matter of seconds to find out who will officially qualify for the Azerbaijan race. As the drivers line up, the lights come on. You can see the AlphaTauri. You can see the sister team of the Red Bull next door as they go. And the AlphaTauri has a sterling start and takes the lead with pride indeed. Lopez says, I'm going to pull away and go for distance. There's an Alpine who's spinning out the back. Jack Dan has not gained many positions off the get-go as the midfield is still trying to squabble all the way through. The Ferrari of Akos has gained a couple of positions of its own as he's trying to hold off Dustin Vincent behind him. And who's that trying to make a lunge down the inside? That looks to be of Tristan in P10, gaining another position onto Ryan Grob. I know you spoke about Grob earlier, but he's not being aggressive as he needs to be for the qualifying.
Definitely. Also, the Alpine that spun round was Lucas Eduardo, our championship leader. So not a good start, not the start that he would have wanted here. I think this has possibly knocked him out currently for any chance of points in the sprint race so far. But also, great start from Andres Lopez. Bad start from the guy that I thought could really change the Drivers' Championship, Ian Van Unen, down 5 places. But a very good start from Andres Lopez. It looked like he was a bit slow on the initial start, but really ramped it up. It seemed like he went to an higher gear earlier off of the start, and that just seemed to catch back up to Tax and get him back in front.
Well, we're heading down back through the straights. You only got the last 2 turns, 18, 19, and technically a slight kink of 20. But we're going to see these cars really ramp up. We're going to go on board with Alexander Dimas, who's in the hot seat right now. You can see the green light on his steering wheel. That's the ERS. Now, it's critical you use it at the right point because it's so long, this straight. You've got to pull out the right time, but he just doesn't have the straight line speed to really get past that Red Bull driver. He's going to have a second shot into turn 3, but he has to have a good exit. I don't think he's really close enough to mount a move just yet, but DRS will activate next lap.
Yeah, definitely. I have to say, Tax has been, I think we can both agree with this, Tax has been the driver who just seems race on race to have really good straight line speed. And
yes,
I think that's something that I think some drivers do forget about others. That's sometimes things that very good drivers remember about each other, especially I can't remember who it was actually. I think it could have been not Tax, sorry. I'm trying to think. It could have been Tim Alders, who remembers very clearly about trying to get past Tax. I can't remember if it was him, but he couldn't get past because he didn't have enough straight line speed. And even when he had DRS, and that's the thing, Tax could actually have a very strong race here because he's got straight line speed compared to other drivers. And we saw on that first straight on lap 1, he's gone a bit wide though. I've just seen that, it's just gone a bit wide. Wants a bit of time. He wants to stay in the DRS, but he's quite low on ERS as well, which isn't helping.
Yeah, you definitely need to stay within DRS because then you're going to get strikes like this from the Haas driver of Alexander Dimas. And we're going to see a lot of overtakes because it is very easy, but no DRS from either side. So this Red Bull might want to sniff a retake back if you lunges late. No, not just yet. It's going to be not on this lap. DRS is now enabled, so here we go. We might see the rear wing open up. There it is, but the Haas driver himself of Dimas will have DRS to help aid the straight line speed. And anybody who has dropped out the second mark, such as this driver here, Dustin Vincent, is really going to be affected down that back straight, and it's a safety car.
Oh no, it was Lucas Eduardo that caused it. And he's retired. Our championship leader has retired on lap 3 of the sprint race. Disappointing sprint race so far. Disappointing weekend so far for Lucas Eduardo. Also, few other drivers. We can see that from 10th down to 13th. They all stayed in positions. Good start from Tim Alders to go up 3 places. Maloney had a good start up 2. Talashi, bad start. He's also lost his front wing as well. And he currently sits down in 19th, down 4 places. Also, not the best start from Ryan Grob. I think he wanted to gain some positions off of that. He looked strong off the start, but just he wasn't aggressive enough with defending or attacking. But this has really shaped up the sprint race because they're all going to be close again.
No, it's only virtual. Only a virtual safety car. So the race, it was almost like, as David Croft would say, it's like putting scale electric cars on the same track and pulling the trigger. They all go at the same pace until the green light. And we should be getting that any second now when the green light will show because the track is cleared. We wait and wait. When's it going to be called? Wait patiently, and there it is. It's green light all over again. Who's going to gain a little advantage from the position on the track? It's going to be nobody. So nobody's able to jump a position when the green light is called. And that is fair game with a virtual safety car. We saw that with George Russell and Sergio Perez. As who's that getting a bit squirmy at the back? I think that was Dustin Vincent getting his rear end out. No, it was Santos who got his rear end out. As I was saying, George Russell did that against Sergio Perez on the French Grand Prix. You just have to be patient. Pounce, bang. You can overtake somebody as soon as the green light is green flag is waved. And it is not against the rule as long as you are keeping a positive delta.
Yes, definitely. I have to say, Tax did lose out a bit of time there. He seemed like he lost about half a second on Dimas because he had a bad start. We've seen it a few times with Tax where he just seems to just sort of lose concentration slightly under a virtual safety car or safety car. But it's good though. He's still within DRS, and that's the important thing. And he is keeping up. But for Andres Lopez, could it have been a slight mistake to try and take the lead so early and hold on to it, because he's now giving DRS to Alexander Dimas and to Tax and to Cordor, Jack Dan as well. So he's got 4 drivers behind him, all very close, and they could all attack him at any point. Like here for Alexander Dimas, who's using his overtake, he's using all his battery. He is going to go for the overtake. He is close enough now with DRS. What is he going to do? Using a little bit more extra overtake. Here he goes to the inside for turn 1. The horse of Alexander Dimas almost makes a move. Is he going to make the move? Lopez still there. Lopez still holding on. And the DRS line will be given again to Alexander Dimas. He will have DRS again. He pushes Lopez out. He's going to have DRS. Tax is right there waiting. And there goes Alexander Dimas through as Tax is close. Can there be a double overtake? No, there won't. Tax thinks better of it. But Alexander Dimas makes a mistake early on into his lead. That was exciting.
It definitely did open for a lot of great opportunities. Dimas deciding to call the shot very early. This is going to, as you were mentioning, put himself in a bit of a back foot for the moment. But this track, we said, is going to be a lot of overtaking. So make your overtaking move now. Get less threat behind you. And in theory, if he wants to play his cards right, let Lopez back pass again while he recharges his battery. And then strike him on maybe a lap or 2 laps later, which will bring him down near to the end, and then he's in a prime position again. So this could be a game of strategy that we're seeing from Dimas, where he's saying, all right, I'll make the move, what are you going to do next? But it could backfire on him. It could be a case that Lopez goes, you know what, I can hold off Tax behind me, and I'm just going to wait patiently until the next overtaking opportunity. Now he's 6/10 behind, so he's just clearly saving up a bit of battery for the next time to pounce.
Yes, but Tax isn't. He wants to go for it. Do you think there's a little bit of a dark horse here of Cordor, who's just sitting there waiting for something to happen?
Oh, for sure.
Tax isn't close enough to make the overtake just yet. But you see Cordor, he's just sitting there. He's just being comfortable. He's used quite a lot of ERS, though, early on. So I think that's what's losing out time. But I think he's just waiting for there to be some sort of big overtake, like there could be between Lopez and Dimas, or even Tax, even going 3 wide possibly. You know, I think he's waiting for that, and, you know, something like that, and then he'll pounce and possibly take the lead. I think he's hoping for it, but it's going to be quite difficult, especially with the laps also slowly depleting as well to try and make that move. But he's keeping close, he's keeping within a second, but he's also allowed Jack Dan, Santos, Akos and Ian Van Unen to also get back within DRS as well. So there's this long DRS train now from 1st to 8th.
Yeah, the situation Cordor's in, and I can agree, he's sitting in a prime position, wait for them to mess up, but you have to stay close. And Cordor's done exactly, literally, it's almost like you've read my mind. He's closing the gap because we're coming to the last 3 laps, and usually is when the chaos starts to unfold, is the last 3 laps. And you can see Lopez from that aerial shot, he's right nice and close. So Dimas, unless he's going to let Lopez pass, which is probably what he should do, and save his battery, Lopez is definitely going to be overtaking here, and it's going to be no surprise once again as down the straight he goes. He's going to open the DRS. He's going to expect more resistance from the Haas driver, and to be honest, this doesn't look major. Slight dip to the inside to defend, given that influence that he is. But actually, no, Dimas is really going to defend this line, not going to make it too easy. And there you go, Cordor at the back. He's going to make a move into turn 2 as well. He's going to put some pressure onto Tax, and the fight will still continue. Where's the camera? There it is. And Cordor showing his presence, but not making the move just yet. So, Dimas, how much ERS did he use to fend off Lopez? And has that compromised him for the latter of the race?
I don't think it has. He's still got 40%, which is more than Tax and Cordor. But this battling is, I think, Dimas and Lopez have got to start thinking, I'm not trying to be rude, but a little bit more intelligently, because they're allowing Cordor, Jack Dan, and Santos to all catch up. And especially Cordor, who we saw took advantage of Tax when he made a mistake. Although the move didn't stick, it means he's still there and he's close. He's close enough that even if you make a small mistake, something's going to happen. And we see there's a Mercedes that's gone off its tracks. He made a mistake. Not sure if there's wing damage or not. There looks like it. Oh, he's hitting into the walls quite a lot. Not sure if he's got damage. Yes, he doesn't have a front wing.
That probably would explain why he's hitting the wall. But once again, we stick to the front. We've been staying at the front this entire time. And now it's really eyes opening to Jack Dan. His numbers are getting quite low, and Jack Dan will definitely want to, you know, have a go at this. He's at the back, in the, kind of the mid-pack of all this. He's in a prime position to watch things unfold, but the lead will once again switch. He's going to go to the outside this time. Lopez is going to try for the outside, but once again, that inside line very well defended by Dimas, but unfortunately has to concede. Pushed right back into Tax, and Tax is going to go, yeah, this is going to be an opportunity now for me to open up, and oh, that's going to be Santos going wide and giving a free opportunity for the car behind him, but you could see the Red Bull going wide. But you could see the harsh defending from Dimas, and actually I would question that, because that's a double move from Dimas for sure, and I would take that to the steward if you are Taxed, and not wanting to give anything away with 2 laps remaining.
Danny Coe has also made a mistake in turn 2, it looks like. It looks like he might have broken his front wing as well. What is happening this race with front wings? I feel sad for the mechanics with the amount of front wings. I mean, there's a race at the back. Look at Drax and Danny Coe. They're both racing without a front wing. I mean, this is a different racing series, I think, that's going on.
They're playing a completely different game. It's not Formula 1, it's Formula... I think it's like Formula Ford level. Actually, no, they have front wings. There is a league that does not have front wings, but for the life of me, I cannot remember. But I'll tell you some big news. Andreas Lopez has done a brilliant job right now because he's broken the DRS. And you know what that does? That allows Tax to go, oh, yes, please. Free overtake with less amount of effort. I'm going to take that all day, every day. And that's great news for him. But unfortunately, Dimas did just get in, so he's in a prime position for sure. Jack Dan has found himself in a prime position as well as he closes in into Cordor, and Cordor holds himself in a good position. He's not allowed the Aston Martin to get all too close. Next set of overtaking into turn 3. Who's going to be looking and eyeing up a move? Indeed, Jack Dan is going to say, I might go for it, but I'm not close enough yet. Coming up to the corner. Nowhere near close enough to mount a move, let alone lunge for it.
Yes, it's also the last lap as well, so I would say the last opportunity for anybody to make an attack is onto that main straight again. But I don't think there will be many moves, unless somebody has a lot of ERS that we don't really see with these front drivers, especially with Andres Lopez having the most out of any of the front drivers. I think this is probably the way that the top 8 is going to finish as it stands, possibly for most of the grid as well. But I mean, this has been one hell of a crazy 9 laps, and I hope this is how the main race is also going to go. But the one issue that Alexander Dimas now has is he's outside of a second, and he hasn't got enough ERS either. His red light was blinking for a second, so he's almost at 10%. It's not going to help him. He's almost outside of a second. I think he's pretty much ruled out because now Andres Lopez has more ERS to use, and so does Tax as well. I don't think Tax will be able to pull off the move though, even if he does try. Alexander Dimas's light is flashing. He is trying.
He's trying his best, and it could be very close. Tax is closing in. This could go down the line, but your race winner for the sprint is going to be Lopez. It's going to go down to the line, and it's just in favour of Dimas and Tax. He had the overspeed. He had the straight line speed to take it, but he just couldn't get it across the line in front of the Hash driver. And 0.095. That is a very close number to be. And just ever so unlucky.
You want to see a closer one? Look at the gap between Tim Alders and Tristan. 0.083. So even closer. Tim Alders just pulled it off. He just did what sadly Tax couldn't do. And he did pull it off on the straight. So good return for Tim Alders in this race. 7 places he's gained. Which is very good in 9 laps, I have to say. But... well done to the sprint race winner. He deserves it, I think, you know, Andres Lopez. He's had a few rough races, you know, DNF and then no points. So I think this is good for him. 8 points scored. It's going to really help him out. It's currently, I would say, it's going to put him 8th as it stands, I believe. So that isn't bad for this. But I'm just looking quickly. I'm just having a look. And Tax scored 6 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
This would currently, he's still 4th, but he's just 2 points now behind Maloney in 3rd. And I wouldn't say Maloney is at a great chance of scoring points in 15th, but we never know.
I wouldn't rule anything out. I never rule anything out on a track like Azerbaijan. It could turn into anything because of the way the track is. A safety car could get called. That then disrupts the whole entire flow. And there is a high chance we're going to get a safety car. It's a street circuit with very tight walls. We're going to get a safety car. You know what? I'm going to put money down here. There you go. You heard the slap of the table. Money's down. We're getting a safety car at least.
Don't say you just put Monopoly money down.
Yo, I would have, but I didn't actually get Canadian dollars out, and then I could have put that on the table.
Yeah, that wouldn't be worth anything to me.
It's worth something to me because I'm going to Canada. All right, okay. There's a lot of value. The Monopoly money they have, I will slam it on the table.
But I have to say, bad race for our championship leader though, Lucas Eduardo. DNF, only driver to DNF as well, down in last. He's got to have a big comeback here, or he's going to lose out to Cordor, and that he could lose out to Cordor and Tax here, and that's not going to be good. With both Cordor and Tax in those sort of prime positions, you know, at the moment where Tax is, if he finishes where he is, and so does Cordor, both of them will go 1st and 2nd in the championship as it stands, wow. which is pretty big.
It is massive. Absolutely massive to say, but get your commentary voice back on again, my boy. We're back racing in Azerbaijan. 5 lights. We are racing once again for the full race this time, and once again, Lopez has a brilliant start. He just keeps on going. Dimas does also have to fend off Tax, and he's going to be under threat, but Tax has the perspective was wrong. Tax has nothing behind him. It is his teammate Cordor. Is going to be trying to fight, but nothing can come of it. And there's strategy on your screen, but we'll talk about that in a bit. And who's going to be trying to lunge one down the inside? It's Ian Van Unen getting to the long side, but Dustin Vincent's going to get past the McLaren of Ivan Santamara. But Santamara is going to be fighting alongside with Ryan Grob, and Grob is going to do what he can to try and push himself up the grid. We've not spoken about him much because he hasn't been amongst the pack, but further back, Tristan is getting positions as well. As a look at that mid-pack, really trying to fight it out. Maloney, season 11 champion. He is right at the back, struggling to get through these cars as they have to single file their way through the castle section.
Yeah, definitely not a good start for Maloney. He hasn't gained any positions, which isn't bad because he hasn't lost any. Also, good start from Tristan. He had a bad sprint race, of course. He lost quite a lot of positions. Good start from Ryan Grob. Oh, bit of front wing. I just saw a bit of front wing come off a driver. I believe that is Jack Dan. Jack Dan has lost a bit of front wing, and that's going to really affect him. It's not even a bit of damage to the front wing. The end plate is fully off. He's losing a lot of speed through the fast sections. He's up for grabs for Santos and Akos. Akos is going for the move on Santos. And so we could see multiple moves here all happen at once. And Lopez puts him fast lap, but Akos is now ahead. He's closing in on Jack Dan. Akos could actually have a really good race here after a few unlucky races for him. Back-to-back P8s, but he's up here in P6 now, and he's going for it.
You have to early on. You've got to make the moves and be aggressive off the get-go. Because it's really your strongest time is at this point. But Jack Dan, we know he's got that damage, and I'm surprised. But the thing is, Akos might not know this unless he realizes how slow Jack Dan is driving. Now, through the second sector and the start of the... well, actually, it's through the entirety of the second sector. There isn't really much overtaking opportunity. So Jack Dan can just plant his car in the middle of the road and he's all good. Now, an advantage of having your end plate off though, and this is actually something to really think about, he's got better straight line speed. So he will be able to defend a lot better through into turn 1. This advantage though is when he actually comes to the braking and actually physically turning that car. He's going to have to brake a lot earlier to swing the car in. As the lateral downforce has disappeared, and you can see he's dropping back nearly to 2 seconds, and this is a clear indication that Aston Martin has problems. We are heading up the straight. Who do you think is going to be overtaking next?
I think it's going to be Jack Dan getting overtaken by Akos and Santos both at once, and both of them are pushing. So my prediction might be true. I think Jack Dan's going into the pits. But also another factor, but actually no, hang on, Santos might go for a move on Akos here. Into turn 1, no he doesn't, he thinks best of it. DRS is now enabled, and this could be the first chance for Dimas, by the way, who we've spoken about quite a lot in the sprint race. He's got DRS now on Andres Lopez, and so Lopez, he's got to be worried.
You would have to be worried as we can see Alders get past Tristan, but Tristan does try and look for an overtake. This is for P11, and just to make a point, it's that's Santos in the wall. Oh no, I just saw the car of Santos. He's in the wall, completely broken front wing. Disappointing for Santos, and he will not be happy with that. But back to my point, Tim Alders had a qualifying ban. May I point out, sprint race, he gained a few positions. I think he's up 2, so he got himself up to P12. Now look where he is, P10. So with this pace from Tim Alders, you know, he's got a 2.4 second gap from Akos to deal with somehow, but if he keeps making his way up, we could be maybe seeing Alders getting some good points.
Definitely, of course he's already in the points, but I do think that one problem Alders is going to have is he's in a DRS train. And that's going to hurt, because look at how long this DRS train is as well. They're all battling. And although that might help him in some ways, and Dustin Vincent has gone for the lead.
I think...
As damage to Akos!
Yeah, I did notice that. I thought Akos getting overtaken in Sector 3. That front wing's completely off. And unfortunately, look at the way they're overtaking. Akos can't get onto the other side. He's just able to do it. But there's going to be a lot of front wing changes, and it's going to mess up the strategy of all these drivers. Completely messing up the strategy.
Tristan's round. Dustin Vincent's round.
Oh my god. Tim Alders P8 now.
Yes, definitely. But I have to say, one of the best starters this race has been Ryan Grob, as Santos gets a 5-second penalty. He is retired from the race. I'm having a look where he was.
He was dead last.
Oh.
As Eduardo has retired as well. Oh, he's gone into the wall! Safety car! He's gone into the wall! Eduardo, our championship leader, out of this race for a full safety car.
Our championship leader, this means for him, as it stands, where everybody is, he will lose the lead of the championship with absolutely no chance. Unless both Tax and Cordor both D and F, um, this means first of all, as well, both Alpines are out. It's a double DNF for Alpine. Lucas Eduardo, he's had such good pace in the last 2 races. To lose out him Baku, he didn't look like he had great pace. Yeah, I'm not sure what to say about that. I'm not sure what actually happened there. It looked like he just went too fast into turn 3, just hit the wall a bit too hard and took off his wall. It's a bit of an odd corner, that one. I have to say, the wall does seem to be quite dangerous there.
It is a very dangerous... This track is dangerous in general. This is why I love Baku. Because it could all be all dandy and fairy at one point. Next thing you know, bang, something like this happens. Tax is going into the pits. Has Tax got damage, or is this going to be a strategy call? A very, very early pit stop for what, though? What is he doing? He might be two-stopping here, going for a hard, medium run.
Yeah, I do think he is, because he's just gone to the mediums. I think he's going to go hard. Yeah, I think that's how it's going to be. I don't know, but a lot of drivers have pit for the mediums, but Ryan Grob has pit for the hards. I've just seen that. I don't know. Like, I don't understand why. Mate, you've confused my brain cells right now, but that's fine. But I mean, I don't know what's going on.
Danny Coe is on softs. That is going to be something interesting. I know what strategy he's looking to do. So an aggressive run from him. But yeah, Tax with no front wing damage, going for the medium, two-stop strategy here. It is a possibility. Now, it is something I wouldn't put it past, because we are going to get safety cars. Why not? Get something fresher. No, yeah, okay, it's only 4-lap-old hards, but if you could be on an aggressive strategy like this, you're going to be faster. We know Tax is somebody who pushes the car and pushes the drivers around him. Why not? Why not do it? Take the risk and see what it comes out as.
Yeah, because I think Tax currently would sit with 33 points after the sprint race. So, he, as it all stands, he wouldn't gain any positions in the Drivers' Championship. So, bit risky to go with that. But it's also slightly smart because he's the head of the medium runners. And it means that though he's got a lot of hard tyre runners to go through, it just also... Have we all just forgotten that the safety car's helping him?
Mm-hmm.
Because it just means that he's not having to go full speed. He can save battery, and this is even better. But I've just realised something.
Ooh.
It seems like a few drivers are having a bit of an issue with fuel, as it seems.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
Because it seems like currently it's red, which is a bit worrying. But it's currently equaling out. But it seems like they might be at risk. A few drivers might be at risk of possibly DNFing before the race. And Drax has gone into the pits. Not sure why. He's one of the medium runners, so we'll have to see why he's gone in. He's got wing damage. Has he? No, he hasn't. What's he doing? He's gone onto the hards.
Was his teammate in the pits? Could it be that his teammate was in the pits denying him from pit stop, doing a pit stop?
No, it wasn't. It was Tim Alders that was his teammate, and he wasn't in the pits.
He didn't go in the pits. Yeah. Oh, odd, late call, but if you're near the back, why not do it? I know Danny Coe was on the soft, so he might be changing to get himself back onto the mediums. But
it's got the hards as well.
Yeah. So
old hards. Ooh.
He's out of set of new hards. Alrighty. Different.
I think everybody is.
But getting back to the matter at hand, I want to focus on your point, your brilliant point of Tax's position, P9, with fresh mediums, and this willingness to fight. I think he's got it. I think there's a good chance he could play the cards right. With the amount of mistakes these drivers are doing, it is very, very possible. You know, even though Azerbaijan has been adapted more recently to make it a little bit easier for the drivers, particularly turns 9 has been made wider for easier to cut across and less chance of hitting that and doing a Charles Leclerc. But there's other areas of the track they have opened up as well. So even with these adjustments, there's a great chance they were going to get safety car. Oh yeah, sorry. Talking of safety car, where's my money? We got 2 of them. We had 2 of them. I want my money for this. I want money for this. As safety car is in this lap, and this will mean that Andreas Lopez will effectively become the safety car as the dancing AlphaTauri will swerve side to side. And the problem with this track is that the start-finish line is right at the end of the straight. So you want to pounce as late as possible, and all the drivers will know this. You know that Alexander Dimas is gonna know that the AlphaTauri is gonna wait as long as possible. But once the AlphaTauri pounces, that is it. You have to go. You can't stop and reclaim everybody. You have to go as the cars, they're all waiting. They stop weaving, and here we go. We're racing once again as Lopez pounces, and it's going to be further back that really the action's unfolding. It's going to be Ian Van Uden defending the McLaren, but the McLaren isn't really going to attack anything off that. Couple of people changing positions near the back. Maloney's trying to Ryan's getting past Maloney, but fending off all too well. Ryan is going to have the better exit, but Maloney's going to lose out to not one, but might lose out to Candy King as well, as the king of Candy is going to get past. No. Yes, he is. I looked at the wrong driver. And brilliant work from the get-go. And Tax, we said he's going to go aggressive. Damn right he has. As already, that's Jack Dan losing a few positions off the restart. And Tax is going to be trying to do what he can early and fast. He knows he has to push hard on those medium tyres. They're fresh. They've got life. You've got to use them.
Yes, also Akos has just DNF'd as well after being hit into turn 1. So we lose another driver, we lose the 3rd driver in this race. And there's another driver off, it's Drax. I don't think he's lost his front wing though, so that's all good for him. But yeah, we might see another retirement here. Tristan, he's got a bit of front wing damage. Quite a lot of drivers with a bit of front wing damage. Not a good... I thought I saw somebody spin for a minute. I thought I saw Cordor spin, but it was actually Ian Van Oonen just being ghosted for a second. But Tax, I just saw Seb, his teammate, let Tax through.
Well,
into turn 4, so maybe a bit of teamwork going on there. And we see further up ahead, Ian Van Oonen trying to go on Cordor round the outside. Can he make it? He's almost there, very close to the wall, almost hit into the wall there. What's going to happen? He's going to have DRS onto the next straight. He's still there. He gets a better traction. Tristan gets a 5-second penalty. Tristan is out of the race. Another car, the 4th driver. Now here they go, heading down into turn 3. What can they do? It's very close, locking up into the wall slightly for Ian Van Oonen. He's still coming out in front. He's so close. And he is going to hold on. But Santa Maria is coming through to attack Cordor as well.
Yeah, so you've got to be careful of the McLaren. You've got to be careful of the McLaren because he waited patiently. He was waiting for the opportunity. And Ivan is going to try and capitalize it. Tax has gained a few positions as well. He's been sneaky in the... And the monster in the dark. He's gained up into 5th place. He's back to nearly where he was before. A bit further back, Tim Alders down into P7. He's struggled a little bit, not being able. He's gained 1 position off the get-go, but not all too well. And it's gonna be patience that these drivers will need if they want to make these tires last. But the person who doesn't have to is Tax. He can go aggressive because remember, he is gonna pit once more if we've got the strategy right. But back onto the straight we go. Who's ready to attack? His name is Tax, because he is the closest out of the bunch really to strike, and those medium tyres are doing him a great deal of good work. As coming down the start-finish straight, he's just, this moment, a little too far away, but I tell you who isn't. Tim Alders is looking pretty punchy, a bit aggressive, but coming up to the first corner, not close enough, and that looked late from Tax. Very late indeed, just not late enough.
There's a car around it. Talashi, his bad luck sadly continues for the McLaren driver. Looking up ahead, Brian Grubbs just lost out to Maloney. So Maloney having a bit of a comeback in this race. He is on the hards. But so far, very good start from Tax. Climbing 4 positions in 1 lap. That's a very good start from him now looking ahead. Okay, we've got to say something.
Uh-huh.
Ivan Santamaria, what a race this guy has had. From being unlucky last race to now here in P4. I know he hasn't pitted, but he's actually not doing badly. As I just saw Ian Van Unen has made a mistake, and it's allowed Santamaria to catch right back up by about a tenth.
Yes, Santa Maria is definitely not a driver we've, spoken positively. And I know we haven't spoken majorly positively because he hasn't put in the results. But being P4 this early in the race, done it fair and square, it's pretty good, looking pretty good. But the problem we have, and this is what you did point out, is it's such a mixed strategy on this race. We're going to have to really keep an eye of who's where and where it will turn out at the end. As once again, Taxman is going to claim your money and your position. And once again, the Red Bull goes flying past. And with the overspeed, he might not just want one. He might go for two. It's there down the inside. Tax takes one and two, but both. Ivan, spin.
What has happened there? It looks like the two of them just came together. Santa Maria down to 13th. Ian Van Unen down to 15th. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what happened. It was really odd. It was a nice pirouette between the two of them. They did it synchronized, but it's not what they would have wanted. Honestly, I don't know what to say about that. I just want to say something. Tax made a beautiful overtake because he was drifting while he made the overtake. And I mean, it's a big lock up into the hairpin. This leaves Corridor open to an attack. He's not going to try it, though.
No, not into the castle section. You just don't make moves into there. But the problem Tax has now, he's on those medium tyres. Yes, they're nice and fresh. He's used a lot of life off the get-go. And he has a train of drivers that have... You've got Candy King, who's 10 positions up, by the way. 10 positions up, who has stopped, but everyone else around him have not stopped. Now, I'm going to leave this up for you guys. Take this with a pinch of salt, because that is how mixed this strategy is. That is how much this game is going to come down to strategy and which is right. The 2-stop or the 1-stop. And if you're at the front, your likes of... I'm just going to interrupt myself as Tim Alders once again, who started, and may I point out, Tim Alders started P20 from qualifying. And he started P20, and he's finding himself up into P4 as Candy King is looking for whatever he can. He's trying to drag race against Corridor down, and you can see from this beautiful angle behind, from the rear, as in comes the Red Bull, but no attack there. As I think Corridor has possible problem with his car, because he's going extremely slowly compared to the rest. But yeah,
it's mediums. Yeah. Quite a lot of other people are on mediums and fresh hards.
Exactly. So if your name is Andrea Lopez and Alexander Dimas, would you stick to the 1-stop or do you quickly change to the 2-stop?
I would say keep to the 1-stop. Sadly, they've come too far into the race to now, I would say, change their strategy without suffering consequences for it. I think once you pass that sort of lap 10 mark, especially around Azerbaijan, because the laps are quite long, and you do lose, you don't lose much time in the pits, but still, it's a bit risky to do a 2-stop now, because you've got a driver like Tax who is catching, and it doesn't matter what, he will overtake or catch up by the end of the race. And so that's the risk that they're taking, that they get overtaken earlier and then get stuck behind for longer, or they wait, or they do their normal strategy and possibly come behind, possibly get behind or stay ahead. So that's the decision really they've got to make. But we haven't spoken about one battle, and I need to talk about this. We haven't spoken about, well, not one battle, but one driver, Seb. I mean, this guy has come in as a reserve And he is doing really well for his first time as a reserve driver in Tier 3. His first race in Tier 3, and he's P6. He hasn't pitted yet, but it's still good. He's up 8 places. You know, and he is holding his own against the driver who's second in the championship, Cordor.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. Sorry, I got distracted by cake outside. But yeah, Seb is doing extremely well, and I'm gotta say I am proud of his work. He is running that one-stop strategy as at the moment. Of course, if you want to make that change, you're more than welcome to do it. But the question is, when do you make that risk? And the position he finds himself in is quite nice. And talking about gaps, actually, I want to talk about gaps. Tax isn't closing down on Dimas as fast as he wanted, but I tell you who is closing down the gap, and that is Candy King. That gap was 2.5. It's now down to 1.6. And we are coming onto the straight, so that's going to ever so slightly help him as well. So, Taxi done all this work, but a driver who has gained 12 positions is also up his rear end as well.
Yeah, definitely. Can I just draw you to the fact about our race leader that Andres Lopez has above 90% ERS, and Alexander Dimas, who's using a lot of ERS, he's got DRS, and he still can't catch him, and he's got 27% ERS. I mean, this is some major, ERS saving strategies going on here with Lopez. I mean, we know if from the last 2 races, Tax was really good at it. Possibly Lopez has become the #1 ERS saver in this race because he's got 95%. I mean, how do you compete with that? That this guy is leading a race from a grid that is fast and not, very close to him on pace, and he's on all tires as well, like Alexander Dimas, and he's still driving faster than everybody else, and he's barely using ERS.
It just shows that with a little threat behind you, you're not causing that many mistakes. You're able to drive consistently, and with consistency means that you are going to drive faster. Naturally, you are. And that's going to help him. Then, of course, you don't have to use your ERS to counter the mistakes that you made, so you last longer. I'm going to go back to strategy. I want to talk strategy just a bit more. I know it's what we talk about literally all the time, but we are closing in onto pit stop window, which will be around 14:15 for the 1 stop. But the people who are on those 2 stops, and that is Tax, Candy King, I get all of them right, as Maloney will get past Cordor. So, Tax, Candy King, Jack Dan, Ryan Grobs, technically Danny Coe, but he's had to go in for a wing. Those guys will have to pit again, and it will be around about this time, on the assumption they are on the medium tyre. Now, that really applies to P3 and P4, which is Tax and Candy King. But Ryan Grob and Dustin Vincent, who are on 9 lap hard tyres, are on hard tyres, so they can go longer. And that means they don't have to pit instantly.
They do have the issue, though, of that they aren't getting through the grid. They're not, they're not competing with anybody, really, I'm not trying to be mean, but they're not really competing with anybody for positions. Like, Ryan Grob here, he can't get past Jack Dan or Cordor, and that's the problem. Ryan Grob, he's had a pretty decent race weekend, but, I mean, you know what I mean? It's, he just doesn't seem aggressive enough to make overtakes. Or, and I think that's the one problem he's going to have. And also, he'll be on old hards when people switch to new tyres. And so if he does try to go to the end, I mean, he will get overtaken most likely. Because he is far off of the front 3 and even the front 2.
Well, we just have to wait and see, because he is actually fairly close to the 2 drivers that are ahead of it, which is Cordor and Jack Dan. And I think, I'm going to be honest with you, I think there's another overtake happening here. We do lose a little bit of excitement, but that person going in is Cordor, going into the pit, so being the first of the runners to actually pit not under a safety car, which means for him, he's not pitted yet, so he's the first of the one-stoppers to make the move. And who else is going to join? That is the question. As Tim Alders, he's finding himself ever so close, but once again, he's just being patient, biding his time. No need to attack just yet, and actually, for him to catch up to the two-stopper, that's a vantage one-stop team.
By the way, I've just found out why Cordor was so slow was because he did have front wing damage. Although it was a slight amount, it was affecting his lap times by about 2 to 3 tenths as I'm looking here from when he got the damage. Because I can just see straight away see where he, what was the first lap that he got affected with the damage. Because he was about half a second off on that first one. So he is having a bit of a tough race for Cordor, and currently he won't take the lead of the championship now. It will be Tax who takes the lead. And oh, there's a big moment further back. It's Danny Coe, who has spun round. I don't think he's got some damage, but there we go. That is disappointing for, I think, the Alfa Romeo, of course, as he was running P10. But he is struggling on the hards, I think, as many drivers
Lopez
are.
is looking to pit. Lopez is pitting, and so is Dimas. The leaders of this race, the one-stoppers, are going in for the pits, which is now going to pose the question, is Tax staying out? Yes, he is. So Tax will now take the lead of the race, operating this two-stop strategy. Now, going out later, he's on faster tyres. He can choose his next tyre in the pit stop if he wants to. The likelihood he's going to stay out for another 10 laps on these mediums is either... If you do that, that is some F1 esports magic work. But the likelihood is not going to happen. So we'll keep an eye on Lopez and Dimas, who have been split by a McLaren between them in P10 and a P11. You can see the McLaren of Tuilashi going to be holding them up. But now our attention is drawn to two areas of this race.
Definitely. I think a bigger thing is now, I think Tax is going to go to the softs, maybe on lap 19, maybe lap 20. I think he's going to go to the softs. I've just seen something that is very important. There is some debris in the middle of the caster section. And hopefully nobody will get a puncture from it. But if you run a bit wide, I do think people will get a puncture from it if they do run a bit wide. But as it stands, Andres Lopez will still lead the race if Tax pits, but what he doesn't need right now is a safety car or anything like that. But I do think the one problem Lopez is going to have is trying to get past all of these guys in the DRS line. This DRS train is so long that he's got a lot of ERS, but as long as drivers have got DRS on each other, it's very difficult to overtake. As we see, Ian Van Unen, the guy that I thought could challenge for the win, has sadly retired from the race.
Yeah, Lopez is getting past Dustin Vincent, so he's trying to wake his way through the pack. Now, critically, he needs to do that as fast as possible, put as many cars between himself and Alexander Dimas, and he is doing that fairly well because he's got another driver of Ivan Santamira to do the work for him. Here we go once again, and that's a second car in the way. But Dimas, you can see, actually struggling to get past Dustin Vincent. So a 2-car buffer for Lopez, and that's going to help him absolutely. But near the front, and you said about the safety car and absolutely destroying Lopez. Yes, it will destroy Lopez in the work that he did, holding the front lead of this race for most of these laps. But I tell you who it helps. Tax, Candy King, and Tim Alders massively, which would completely flip this race on its head, bringing you a new top 3. They won't have... They would be okay, They would probably just hold the position because of how slow you go under a safety car.
That's on the Dimas is going for it. Oh, he almost sent it. Oh, it's a big mistake from Dustin Vincent. Looks like he has damaged his front wing. I'm not sure if he has. I think there'll be some minor damage. It does look like he might have some minor damage on there. But Alexander Dimas is through. But I have to say, Lopez has now built a 3-second gap back to Dimas, and that's not going to be easy to get rid of. As
Seb
we
in the
see
pits.
Jack Dan is also going into the pits as well. He's on mediums, which is a strange one. But I think next lap or on lap 20, we're going to see Tax come in for softs. I think he's going to go for it.
From looking at this now, I'm just trying to look carefully. As Tim Alders going to get past Candy Cane, and that's a critical move. So Tim Alders, who was P20 from qualifying, finds himself into P2. I'm actually questioning myself about these guys potentially pitting. If their tyre life is good, if they have enough percentage, it's not like Alexander Dimas, who is currently P7, is massively closing this gap. Realistically speaking, at this rate, and from my very, very rough maths, and I don't have screens left, right, and centre, these guys do not have to pit. They could one-stop this from when we thought this was a two-stop race, and they could Tax could take the win. Tim Alders could come out with one of the best races in history, and Candy King is probably going to make the largest gain in the F1 game for this race, as there's been a yellow flag. That's Drax into the wall once again.
Wall again.
You get where I'm coming from, though. This could be interesting.
Definitely. I think Tax is going to struggle to hold those tyres to the end. But I think he could. But it all depends on how it goes, because Lopez has just caught up to Ryan Grob. He's just gained 1.2
Tim Alders is taking the risk of pitting. He's going for it. He's actually going, and he's putting on mediums. He's not even putting on softs.
He should have gone softs there. Like I said, he should have gone for softs. It's a massive risk he's taken. But now, Lopez is closing in, but he is stuck behind some cars. And it's a risk now because Tim Alders is knocked outside of the top 10.
He has got fresher tyres, though, so he will be able to attack.
But pitted only one lap ago.
Oh,
so...
God, then, yeah, no, that's not going to be great for him either. So that's going to be a struggle indeed. Yeah, they're still fresher, but not by much. So realistically, you don't want to really give away that position, as Ryan Grobs loses the position to Lopez, and Lopez has really made some ground, sniffing under the radar. He's currently P4, and potentially the one stop we spoke about is disappearing. The one stop for Tax could come to an end, because we also have to talk about puncture territory. We are going to be heading into that region, and you can see that Lopez is really, really gaining well, and that's going to be another position onto Maloney. You now fear the clear road that Lopez has once he gets past Candy King. He will have freedom like no other.
Tax is going to pit this lap.
I don't think so. I think Tax is going to go for it. He should.
I think he should.
100% he should, but I don't think he will. He's going to stay out, and okay, he is staying out. He's going for it. Risk and reward 101, and here comes Lopez to take P2, and now he has clear road. He has the opportunity to go and attack our race leader Tax.
It's going to be difficult to get past Tax because, like we said before, Tax has a very good straight line speed. But Lopez has the better tyres. But this is the one problem about this track, is that for most of it, for about 70% of the track, you can't actually overtake, like through the corners and stuff. We see it turn 1, but unless you've got a lot of overspeed and are very good at braking, or, you know, the other driver brakes really early, you're not going to get past them, which could be the risk, because we've seen Tax. He does drive aggressively, and he defends very well. And that's going to be the one issue, is that I haven't really seen Lopez so far really be incredibly, you know, sort of aggressive, you know, because, you know, I think a lot of the drivers, for instance, like Candy King, Grob, sort of both knew that he had fresh tyres, there's not much point in going against him. But Tax does, because he could win this race, and that's the difference. But I think all that Tax wants now is to finish, to take the championship lead, because that's what I think Tax is more thinking about, is taking the championship lead. Because even if he finishes 3rd, he will take the champ. Even if he finishes 5th, he'll still take the championship lead.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you who else wants to try and get up this group very much is Alexander Dimas. He was running second throughout this race. He got second in the sprint race as well, so he's definitely wanting to get past some people. That's going to be Ryan Grob's going to be taken care of, and here comes the second driver of Candy King, as Candy King is going to submit. He's going to wait the white flag, and he pits, so all that's left who took that early pit stop is this man here, and you can see we just changed to tax. And look who's behind him. It's Andreas Lopez. And with a free Alexander Dimas behind him, it's a case of you just have... It really is not a good look for Tax right now. Because he knows that the AlphaTauri of Lopez, who led this race, who led the sprint race and won the sprint race, is coming for blood. It's damage limitation for Tax. How much can he withstand the AlphaTauri, and not just the AlphaTauri, the Haas that will come next?
He's going for it.
Yeah.
He's gone for it.
It's no surprise. No surprise at all.
I was about to say that possibly could Tax be trying to hold up Lopez to get Dimas to close in? Obviously, that hasn't worked. I think Tax is going to pit this lap. He's got to pit this lap.
No. You've taken that risk. You've only got 5 laps remaining. Why throw it away and get less points out of it? There's a 7-second gap. There's a 7-second gap from Grobs to Vincent, right? If he loses one more position, which he's guaranteed to do, you can see Dimas is closing in, and he will overtake Tax here. Okay? You've then got Ryan Grobs, who's 2 seconds behind Dimas. Theoretically, if he pitted, he'll go further down. Conserve your tyres, play it safer. Yeah, you're going to lose a truckload of time, but at least you're guaranteed a better position. You're going to be more fourth, than you are going to be somewhere down in 9th. So it makes sense in my eyes to do it, as Tax will hold off Dimas for just a bit longer. But you can see Dimas still will have the better exit to eye up turn 2, but nothing there. So turn 3 it shall be. DRS enabled. And whatever battery left, because Dimas is using his battery like no other, will make the move only just into turn 3. It's damage limitation. That's what we're looking at.
Cordor's up into 9th, but this isn't going to do anything because it's not going to affect his championship position, which is his issue, because he is behind Maloney again. Maloney's on softs as well, which I think they might be overheating slightly. But still, if Maloney finishes in front, he will currently overtake Cordor for second in the championship, but will also take the championship lead. He will be second in the championship if Tax finishes where he is. He will be second in the championship, which isn't bad. We didn't expect Maloney in this race to come through from last place after qualifying to finish, a possible 7th. Now, there's a driver that's currently ghosted, and that is Tim Alders.
Yeah, it's a left ascension. He has rejoined. A bit of connection issue for himself as we're coming into the final stages of the race. And here we go. Tax going to possibly lose another position. Possibly not on this straight, because Grob is a little too far back. And I'm going to be honest, we did not speak lightly of Grob from the get-go. But I've got to say, this race is looking pretty good for him. P3, imminent P3 this is. Assuming there is no damage on his car. Commentator's curse incoming. But a brilliant race for himself, and I'm sure he'd be proud of a podium position as he does take that off the ever so painful Tax right now. But as I said, it's damage limitation for Tax. He's got to hold on those tyres. He's not going to fight. He's not going to be too aggressive. Ease off on the throttle on the exit. Ease up with the braking as well, so brake a bit earlier, do some lifting and coasting just to save not only fuel, but also some tyre life in those tyres. He's going to do everything he can, and I feel that it's going to be a bit of a stalemate now till the end of the race. No one's really in a position to attack except for these guys, who is from P6 down to P9, but that's going to come a bit later on. I think lap 25, we're going to really see these guys open up the battling.
Going rule anything out because Dustin Vincent is catching Tax very quickly.
Ooh.
And as it stands, if Tax finishes 5th, he will still lead. He will lead the championship. But any lower than 5th, he will lose out the championship to Maloney as it stands. As he is struggling. Is that a puncture I see? Is it? Maybe? No. It's just me having really odd vision.
Yeah, you need to get your eye checked, boy. That definitely does not look like a puncture.
I mean, it looked like it from my view, because the sun was in my eyes. But as he's coming down, he is losing a lot of time. He's lost 2 seconds this lap. He really needs to start sorting things out because he's really slippery on the rear, and he's still got 3 more laps. I think he might just lose out. Look at the rear.
You say that, but Dustin Vincent is now under threat by Seb. So yes, Dustin Vincent is pushing, but he's now got a Red Bull driver gonna go past, and that will be Seb, the reserve driver. But now Dustin Vincent's gonna be under threat by the driver behind, and that's gonna be Maloney, because Maloney is in this championship fight, so he's gonna do what he can. There is a ghost car there. That is Tim Alders, who is trying his best not to intervene. There is penalties if he does stay there and be an annoyance. I know that because I've done that. And Maloney is going to do what he can. Is there any room down into the corner here? Down the inside. You don't see overtaking much into the corner. Into turn 8 now. Into 8 and 9. And brilliant work from Maloney because he needed to get past Dustin Vincent quickly. Because he knows, and now he will physically see, that's a championship contender Tax up ahead of him.
Yeah, I think Seb might try and defend Tax slightly. I think he might try to defend. We saw earlier Seb let Tax through, so I think he might try to defend him slightly from Maloney. But I think he should have stopped earlier. I think he should have. I think this has really ruined his race and his championship chance. Look at how much he's losing.
Yeah.
On the fast corners, I think he's possibly just lost his championship chance, his championship lead that he could have had. You see, look, he's not going for the overtake yet.
He's got nothing left. He's got nothing left. There's no flashing red lights on the rear of that car. And Tax, what looked to be a brilliant strategy, has turned out not to be great. He will fall further back, and there you go. That's the real confirmation as Maloney, his championship contender, does go past. And all was looking good. All was looking strong, but it was just a few laps too early. And it did not work out for him.
I think he's going to drop outside of the top 10.
Yeah, he might do. He might do indeed. But our eyes will now drift to the front. Maloney versus Seb. That is the real battle that's happening right now. The one that is going to get punctured. We've seen Maloney go into turn 7. Is he going to do it again? No, not just yet. He's going to wait patiently. Patience, my young Padawan, as he goes to the
down to P9.
It is dropping further and further back. We stay with Maloney. We are about and closing in onto the final lap as the final top runners, the first and second, they're coming through turn 18, 19, and 20 as... Who's at a puncture?
He's got a puncture.
It was not inevitable, absolutely inevitable for that to happen. But our eyes will go round for one more lap. We race. Lap 26 is underway. It's now or never for these drivers. Maloney's going to know this is the opportunity to really strike, to mount a move onto Seb, to take 4th place off. And behind him, that's Candy King. We've been fighting amongst Cawdor. He finally gets past him. But you know Cawdor is not going to give in all too easily. But with a soft tyre on Candy King, I don't think that's going to work all too well. Head our focus back to Seb and Maloney. And Maloney has nothing to fight with. Nothing really to strike back. And he's going to have to wait patiently as we draw our attention quickly to the man in front, Andreas Lopez. An absolutely sterling force. A driver from qualifying, put in a good lap time. He then puts himself to win the sprint race. We thought at first he lost it to Dimas, but Dimas struck too early. But Lopez said, no, I'm still in this fight, and took the sprint race. So maximum points for him. And he's now gone, and comfortably, without any worries, without any stress, Lopez is going to round the final few corners, turn 19, through the kink of turn 20. Andreas Lopez is going to be a Formula 1 Esports WOR Round 4 race winner at Azerbaijan. Andrea Lopez, what a race.
That was brilliant. I have to give it to him. One of the most dominant races I've ever seen from a driver. I mean, there was nothing you could complain about from him. Also, Ryan Grob, come on. I mean, this guy deserves a massive well done to Ryan Grob. 3rd place, up 8 places. What a race from him.
Absolutely, it's a massive, massive gain in positions. We'll quickly pull those up. 10 positions for Seb, 10 positions for Maloney. Candy King, who decided to make that last-minute call, gets himself P6, so that's worked all too well. And then drivers who didn't finish was Tax, Ian Van Unen, Tristan, Akos, Lucas Eduardo, championship leader, who will not be holding the championship anymore, if I am right.
It's Maloney.
Yeah, it's this man here on your screen, Maloney, P5. So again, another brilliant work from him. And Maloney, he doesn't qualify well, but his racecraft is up there. He's been doing a brilliant job. And if I get my numbers right, where is our lovely Ferrari driver? That's his P... Nope, I want that one. That's the one I want. Maloney getting 10th and winning the last race. P5, it's not out of, like, rhythm, but it's still a good amount of points. And you can see that put together. 8 and 25, 33 points for Andreas Lopez. I don't know if you've done the maths for Lopez, but that could be quite potential here.
Lopez will be... He will be 5th in the championship.
Oof. Major jump up for Lopez. And just a quick rundown if you have not been here. So, for the entire week, let's quickly remind you of, first of all, the sprint race. It was Andreas Lopez who took the win. Then it was Alexander Dimas, Tax and Cordor, Jack Dan, and then Akos for your top 6. But then the race result ending up with Andreas Lopez again winning, Alexander Dimas holding position. But Ryan Grobs started P11, will take P3, Seb from P14, Maloney from P50, Candy King from P16. Then Cordor dropping down from P4 down to P7. Jack Dan finds himself into P8. Dustin Vincent P9. Torlashi in P10. Danny Coe in P11. And I ran out of time to read the rest of them.
I'm sorry, I was wrong. So I need to say this. Andres Lopez will be 4th. I think he'll be 4th in the championship because of his finishing position in both races ahead of Tax. So that means Tax is down to 5th. Andres Lopez is 3rd now. And who's the guy that finished 3rd? Of 2nd. I'm trying to find him again. Alexander Dimas will be currently 6th, I believe it will be, in the championship with 25 points over the whole race weekend. But well done to them all. Absolutely brilliant race from all of them. Unlucky for a few, but really good from all of the drivers.
Absolutely, definitely a very lovely race indeed. But where are we going next? That is the bigger question. I'll tell you where we're going. We're going to Belgium as we go to Spa, and a beautiful track that is. I'm looking forward. Well, I say I'm looking forward. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here for the next 2 races. But I'm sure you're looking forward to seeing Spa and what these drivers can bring for it.
Yeah, definitely. Exciting track. It's very different from Baku. It reminds me of round 1 Brazil for the track layout. So I'm really excited to see what can happen there, because as we know, anything can happen at Spa. Yeah, I will keep you updated though, Hyper. I will keep you updated on what happens.
I'll look forward, and I'll be looking back and getting the deets about it all. But any last words from you, Epic, before we head off?
I have no words. That was too good for words.
That's good to hear. Thank you all for watching, and if you love the action, well, you're in the right place. There's more action across the weekend as we head into the Xbox leagues, which are always some great entertaining racing. But if you are really spicing up the PC racing, well, stay tuned next week because Tier 3 is going to be back in action, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you, and good night.